Hey guys, how's it going? Ew. Very so sorry. Very sorry. Not feeling super hot right now, I guess. But we got Void versus Natalie. This is, I believe, the third game of each of their sets in Phase 2 of the Smog and Snake draft. And we have some relatively interesting teams from both. Natalie's obviously rooted in something more standard. I'm gonna have to play a little catch up right now, and narrate what happened thus far. So let's see. Embor on Flygon. He Qs. He goes to Gligar. Shaman Leech Seeds. Slowking reveals Future Sight, Stealth Rocks, and the major turn that we're looking at is Embor Flare Blitzing into a Registeel who eats, ships it with Earthquake, and then proceeds to pop it off. So, all in all, a pretty good trade for a Void, I would say. Because, of course, Embor is the one thing that can really pivot into what I would imagine to be a, well, maybe not. I was going to say Spexion Mega, but that becomes less and less likely when I look at the team. Natalie's team is very odd in that Slowking into the Soul Water Resist is not a good look for me, especially when SD's Superpower Gator has been seeing just so much usage nowadays. I feel like it would be remiss for anyone to avoid, doing all that, especially with a team like this. I mean, it could be Fizz-Def Umbreon. I've seen that 3-month from time to time, and it is a decent set for certain. The only reason that it's really not seen as much is just kind of tradition more than I think anything reasonable and consistent. But okay, he does just go for Drain Punch, which I think is telling of that set. What could be putting in a tremendous amount of work right now would be SD's Z move with Ice Punch Sucker, because that's something nifty about the Z move. The Z Dark, it allows that, one-time actual non-conditional Dark stab, and of course that would bust through the Cavagrius fairly handily. We're seeing, of course, a physically defensive Cavagrius, so I don't know, that makes the premise of that Spit-Off Umbreon all the less likely. It's just kind of a weird team. I'm not sure how I feel about it, but I mean, this Shaman looks to be something of a menace at this point without, that Embor to spook it on the threat of, Scarf Flare Blitz, because it's sort of fine-tuned to perform versus Registeel. And, Shaman generally, I think, can, just lob hits at it fairly for free. Obviously, with Life Orb and Protox chipping at it, it's got the thing, but it has, the natural cure and whatnot to sort of get some beats in, find its way out, and recover up on their bulky water or what have you. So, that's definitely going to be something that plays into Void's game, unless Void just disconnects and times out. But I would say right now he's probably looking up to, beating with the Shaman in the mid game as to set up some pressure from the Yanmega, which obviously, given what he has seen, did Gligar take a hit yet? Yeah, definitely that boy. Gligar. Yeah, no, Gligar has not taken a hit yet. It has not revealed what its set is. Honestly, it's weird to imagine what is what on this. I'd figure just physically defensive, just have that extra strong, resilient fight resist. It's still, not great versus Pangoro, but that has been seeing way less usage in this current metagame, so that's something to make note of. And which seems somewhat interesting. I feel like these kind of concepts, the ones that are built out as his are always at least somewhat tempting, but me personally, I feel like I'm always thrown off by the fact that it is just conceding a whole lot defensively in running sets like this. I feel like because neither its fight resists are good fight resists, and its fire resist is of course a fly gun. And while I think that there is, some merit in that, if you speed the team up, Registeel is the definition of killing momentum. I mean, it's obviously a great Pokemon, but it's just liable to give away so much momentum, and when a team like this, it's like the rest of the backbone isn't supporting that, it becomes somewhat of a difficult task to handle. But nonetheless, he is going at it, and this this might be where he shows lefties on his Flygon. No, it's not. Okay, it is defog, that is confirmed, but we are uncertain. Especially from that damage, that is looking to be just Scarf Defog, which is, again, a bit of a drain, but sometimes you just have to slap that on there. Though I feel personally, every single time I end up thinking, maybe I should put fucking Scarf Defog Flygon on the team. It's just this, panic button response that just doesn't ultimately strengthen the core of the team. That always usually makes me want to rethink the team a little bit. Flygon in general is just a weird Pokemon to work with right now. I feel like the DD set is not nearly as potent as you would figure in theory, and Void playing it nice and conservatively with that. He is not going to let Natalie sneak that Hex in on a attempted Espeon switch, though honestly Espeon it's not threatening a whole lot right now, unless it's a freaking Calm Mind Z Gleam set could be possible. He hasn't shown an item on Toxicroak as of yet, and that would be able to do at least a little work, if only for, forcing the Slowking to respond, and presumably Dragon Tail. It goes to Gligar here. Interesting play, because, I guess not anticipating him to try that same angle again, but obviously I think that Void has the leeway to do that. At worst, it would be like, conceding Toxic Spikes to Cofagrigus on the Shaman switch, and that's not really that bad. He can, he has conceded to playing that Flygon pretty liberally, so he has at least one chance to do it again. And if this has Ice Punch, Lift 4 Rush Punch, I'm almost positive knocks this out. Again, my calcs are kind of blown out of proportion because I don't usually run freaking oh god damn it. God fucking damn it. Sorry guys. I don't usually run fully Fizz-Def Gligar anymore, but goddamn it does. And, well, of course I was calcing on the basis of Life Orb, so I guess that is kind of a bit of that. But that would presume this to, then I would presume this to be Defog, Z-move Croak, rather. And if it is that Dark Z-move, as I've mentioned, that's pretty scary for Natalie, because it picks off one of Cofagrigus or Slowking, and Slowking obviously has to, being AV, attack to threaten that, so it's not like it can dodge the Sucker Punch in the way that Cofag does. Obviously, I feel like there is merit in Natalie trying to, scout for that. Void does make the smart play going for Drain Punch, knowing that he won't go to Cofagrigus, and thereby avoiding any issues. He hasn't shown any other coverage move. Okay, good. Oh, and he does do the bait, and Void takes it. God. On the other hand, I'm so good at making these reads, dude. I'm so good at Pokemon. Holy shit. God. Ugh. Ugh. But yeah, definitely a good read on Nat's end. In the same breath, you could say, you know, hey, maybe Void should have made that read himself, but he's making headway all the same, and, oh my god, that does fucking nothing. Sometimes you forget how bulky Eco-Fabric can be. It does have, you know, that pitiful, like, just a hair under... Oh, and Z Haze. Okay, so that's it as well. Nice, nice, nice. People have been getting big on the Z Haze tech nowadays. They've, one such mention would be Ajna versus Soulgazer, wherein he used it on Quillfish, a Pokemon that I thought was, decently underrated to this point. It's, you know, because Spike's still pretty darn good, guys, and, of course, Quillfish is a fairly mobile fight check. It, you know, it's a little bit more passive than you would like 9 times out of 10, which is rough on you, boy, but, it's passable on team if you, you know, speed up the process. And Void, you know, making smart plays. He's thrown out Leech Seed twice to keep things down, but I'm not sure how he pulls this out at this point. I mean, Registeel is just a bit too healthy for my liking, and he does, in fact, get Toxic here. If this was Specs, I think that I would have been a bit more conservative with that angle. I would have probably, you know, toted off Flygon, because if it's Scarf like I presumed, it is, you know, still not beating this team even with no ground no ground resists. So I probably would have been fine just, you know, throwing that into the Toxic, spamming EQ until I get my free switch into Yanmega and, you know, clicking Bug Buzz. But given the breaker heavy nature, you know, this might very well just be the speed boost set. In which case, I think this one goes to Natalie, because I just don't see Void having the tools at his disposal to push through the rest of the team. And yes, it is the Tinted Lens set, so yeah, I don't agree with him making the, making the darn immediate switch there, because having this without its, or having this with its Tox up is pretty nasty. Obviously, it's going to get somewhat evened out by the Leech Seed recovery, and of course Natalie can't afford to go for Protect because, well, actually it might be in her best interest to go for Protect here and simply choose to fire that off. I don't know. She should be running the numbers right now, because yeah, Slowking not healthy enough to eat the hit. I would say, yeah, no, this might still go to Void anyway, because, and on that basis, I'm saying it might be better for her to go for Protect again, just to rack up that extra turn of Toxic, so Void has to commit to another attack, and, you know, dealing, what, 42% to himself, plus the Leech Seed recovery, obviously, but I think that would be better for her at this point in time. So this is tough. I did not expect Void to just absolutely go 100% on the bulky offense dash stall matchup with his sets. But, you know, I guess that's a fairly safe bet. From what Nat's been showing in the past, it hasn't, you know, like, nothing's been so intensely offensive that it warrants a whole lot of prep. I mean, you know, a lot of the time people will be like, yeah, I got that sweeper with priority, I got the Scarf gone, I'm more or less set. Which, mildly true, though. You know, that theoretical DD gone against a team like this can potentially be savage working on that speed tie, and that's kind of the reason why I also hate Flygon, because just, like, if it's playing its game like that, it's going to be it's going to be risking speed ties to get like the main targets of its revenge killing, which is just ugh. I understand that it plays to those certain strengths, and I think Nat has to go for the seismic toss here, because there's no way Void is gonna not just like hard switch to Espeon probably, and he needs to start getting his cake up, bro. Yeah, well, yeah, because the idea of protecting and then foddering off a boy and just sort of committing to, well, sacking Umbreon, that is, and then committing to Cofagris plus Registeel for the rest of his team is something of an option. I mean, there's like a lot of banking that has to be done here. This is kind of in a tough spot for Natalie now, just because of how vicious Yanmega is to teams like this, and credit to Void because recognizing that so early in the game that once Embor is out of the picture, he can really put in with this Yanmega for the end game is something for sure. And Natalie's timer's going down. You can't see it now, but she was sitting at 40, but now Void is thinking about his play, and I believe that, like, unless this is some Espeon that can absolutely not do anything to Registeel, like, rather than even keeping it down at low health, it just sort of... I mean, I can't imagine there's a set like that. Even... He could be... Yeah, I don't know, man. It should be, like, even Spect would just, like, trick off his Spect onto whatever, and that's sufficient value because it allows you to bring in the Yanmega for Frizzle again and get your kill. So, yeah, I think Void makes a safe play, goes to Espeon, while Natalie has to get a little aggressive, try to get her chip in, and go for the S-Toss. And I don't have much else to say, so hurry up and make your gosh darn move, Void. Come on, bro. Oh yeah, I should give some context. Void got subbed in for, I believe, Meru. I haven't really gotten a reason for why. Maybe he is just, preoccupied at the moment for the week. I couldn't tell you. Interesting for sure. There's been a lot of Oh no, Void, no. Come on, man. Yeah, I don't like that because yeah, what was the net gain of that? Was he expecting like an Umbreon double there? I don't like that play at all. I feel like he should have definitely gone Espeon unless it's like dual screens or something. But and it lives too because it was a roll. Okay, yeah, that's. Alright, does his Shaman have Earth Power at least? Okay, HP Fire. Okay, I mean, he can make something work, but I don't think that was the play at all. I feel like, for all the switches he makes here, and obviously, it's only one layer of T-Spike, so that's fine for him. Yeah, I don't like that angle. I feel like he should have absolutely been saving that Yanmega because on everything but Registeel, it just, comes in on that free turn and picks one up, and I mean, I guess Umbreon a little less so, but yeah, he didn't need to run that risk at all, I don't think. Obviously, Void goes for the HP Fire here to keep the Registeel honest. Going to Kofag, it's whatever, who cares. So Nat makes that read and goes to her own. I don't, now he's in a position to comfortably lose. I don't like that. I do not like that at all. Because, really, Natalie throws the Hex for free now. And he has to commit to a Seed Flare. He still has plenty of Seed Flare PP, so that's fine. No, you can't do that. Heck's too strong, man. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he doesn't have. There's no way he has Synth here. Yeah, this is where it comes in. I don't think that his remaining members have the breaking power to be that. You know, like Espeon in theory is kind of good here, but against Registeel Umbreon, it's ostensibly useless. Like, this is not good.
Some very rare unreleased Clams Casino right now. Exclusively for us on Radio 1.
Okay, so he's going for the defog there to do that, but yeah, now I mean, if ever there was a time to reveal that you're not Scarf, this is it, but yeah, no, he just goes to Registeel now, and that's game. He's conceded all that needs to be conceded. I mean, there's always the off chance that this is Calm Mind Morning Sun, but okay, no, that's looking like a Specs Espeon, and he is down and out at this point. Like, yeah. I don't know. I think he threw. I really do. So is the Protect. Cool shit. I am a big fan of, like, a big advocate, I suppose, of Protect over Leech Seed, or Substitute. Obviously, you know, the idea of snowballing value out of seeding and subbing down and just, like, chipping away to do it is great, but in application, you really have to commit to your Shaman to go through with those kind of cycles, whereas Protect, you're allowed to much more liberally just sit on guys. And Scouting choice moves, obviously great as well. It has a lot of flexibility, and I think that most of the time the value of Protect outweighs Sub a lot. But Void, you know, he's still fighting, and with the Leech Seed up on Registeel, he can again just throw the Dazzling Gleam here. So, I mean, there's still something to work off, but I mean, he's got to recognize by now that this path is much more... Oh, he does have Calm Mind. Ooh, that is a hell of a bluff if that was what he was working with there. Yeah, so again, he can just throw the Dazzling Gleam, same conditions really, and pressure, because Registeel, with the Leech Seed up, he can't really do anything about it. Oh, Nat makes... Ooh, dang, Void playing off that comfortable playing that she's exhibited before. Ooh. Pardon me, goes for the second Calm Mind. GoFactories might, depending on rules and whatnot, be able to take a Psychic, but if this is Shadow Ball, which is, like, I think usually the best final move for this, he can just pop it off there. Okay, but does go to Umbreon. Espeon obviously takes one foul play, and I'm 95% sure 2-hit KOs with Dazzling Gleam at this stage. So I can only imagine him going for that. Natalie doesn't, I think, desperately need... Okay, goes for that. Fine play. I don't think that Wood was going to, you know, ever try for the Calm Mind there. That's good, that's good. Not gonna knock that. Excuse me, gracious. Oh, this could be, however, one set that I've... Has it shown an item yet? No, it has not. Okay, so one set that I've shown a little bit of appreciation for in the past, which is Calm Mind Morning Sun at lefties, which is an okay breaker. I mean, the thing about it is that it can usually work its way through these kind of cores, because leftovers allows it to just narrowly work through a Registeel. And okay, yes, so takes that, eats the foul play for... Oh my gosh, that does nothing. And it is lefties. That's cool. A lot less than I would have expected too. Maybe I'm just misremembering the couch because it's been such a long time since I've used Espeon, but this is probably going to be just real good for it because, yeah, 30% means that it's running HP investment too. Because the set that I typically went for was, yes, it is that set. God damn, I'm good. And that's interesting. Okay, I haven't seen that in a long time, but yeah, this was a set that I was advocating for, way back when. And the premise behind it is that it can afford to set up on these Registeel. It makes an adequate, SR preventer versus this Pokemon, and Morning Sun, in conjunction with the Leftovers recovery and all that, it can PP stall S-Toss, from a vacuum. Though usually you're forced to splurge beforehand, kind of run out of things. But also, this is coming from a Registeel that's already 11 PP in the hole, so this should, I imagine, go to Void here. Yes, it should. But now they're trying to pay this out. I'm really surprised just how much Void invested in the this balance matchup. That's crazy. They're trying to soldier it out with some doubles, but yeah, this isn't gonna do it, I don't think. Like, Void can just absolutely go for Psychic here. There's no reason for him not to, but okay. I mean, personally, I think that I would have thrown that because at this point, it's pretty clear Natalie's trying for the PP stall angle, which, I mean, is still possible. But it's tough. It's real tough. And, given that it's playing in this end game, wherein the PP, a lot of it's been exhausted trying to deal with Shaman, with Yanmega. This is interesting. I didn't really consider this as an in-gaming option, though I still will say that I think that Yanmega would have been much more consistent in this capacity. Does he go for Gleam again? No, Cop. Alright. Kind of just letting this shit happen, Void. You can afford to. You've shown that Foul Play does like 47, and he's going into sequences that don't dictate. Alright, I don't know. Like, you are so far in control that you can afford to throw those. Like, yeah, that's good to Calm Mind there, and I think that you should be going for the Gleam here. Oh, okay. Like, why not? He's going to have to go into Protect cycles. You're going to get all your HP back. You don't even have to waste a Morning Sun PP with the sequences he's forcing here. Okay, but he does eventually just fall to that, and that is going to be game. Natalie cannot feasibly stall out the other psychics, especially if he just Calm Minds here, but no, okay. You just gotta stun on him in the end, bro. You just gotta show him. But that's an interesting one. I really did not expect this Espeon set. I would have, from the looks of the team, expected... You know what, I'm not sure. It is an interesting pick, but I feel like he went, like, way in on the balance matchup when he, could have potentially gotten, like, shredded by Physical Shark, for instance. But I'm glad it worked out, and I believe this puts Void at, like, gracious, I don't remember what he's at, like maybe 2-0 or 2-1, something like that. Man. Alright, and Natalie plays a matchup card. I mean, I understand that she hasn't been performing as well as she would like, but you can't ignore sportsmanship sometimes. It leaves a bad taste in folks' mouth, and the idea of saying, oh, I got a bad matchup, it doesn't redeem you in the eyes of anyone. It just, like, I wouldn't have thought any less of her if she lost this and just, said GG, but now it's like, come on, man. Like, I don't know. I don't want to get on a soapbox about it, though, but it leaves a bad taste in everyone's mouth. Why bother, But, definitely a nice showing from Void. He is doing well, and I am happy for him. and maybe I'll see if I can catch some other games and upload them. We'll see, though. Thanks for watching, guys. You have a good one.